Try to imagine a dimly lit basement, a cold stone wall spattered with blood, hair, skull fragments, and brain matter. Sharon's brains. A scene too graphic for even the most sensational TV detective show. What a mess. The mixture of blood and, well, wait. Let me tell you the rest of the story. I call it Room for Sharon. She had been beyond mean, wicked, one of the most wicked people that I've known. Posing as a sweet little old lady, Sharon preyed on mentally challenged poor people. She promised to provide them with room and board in exchange for their making her the guardian of their monthly check. In reality, she took all of their money, fed them jailhouse food, and allowed them to sleep on the concrete floor of her unheated basement. If they complained or told anyone, they somehow suffered an unexplained black eye or a broken wrist. Over a quarter century, Sharon and I were adversaries. She often came to visit our center in the Short North District. Even though she was rich and didn't need our charity, she would take anything that was free. I always figured that when she came, that she was prospecting, looking for her next victim. Sharon's journey of life had been selfish. She had been brutal, and now it had come crashing to a very sudden end. She had rented to the wrong man, an angry man with a wicked past, a man who had a gun and knew how to use it. Now I was standing in front of a crowd of 200 people packed into our center, Sharon's funeral. There were family members there, angry over her murder and that the killer had not yet been apprehended. Leaders of community government and local crime bosses were there in attendance as well. As I got up to speak, I felt as though I was riding a keg of nitroglycerin over Niagara Falls, holding 6 sticks of lighted dynamite. If the fall doesn't kill you, and you don't get blown to smithereens, you will drown. However, I was holding a hidden ace, something that no one else in the room knew. I started to speak. Some of you barely knew Sharon. You're just curious. Some of you actually loved her. Some of you are here because you owed her and you were afraid to not be here. Some of you are here because you want to make sure she's dead. Well, she is. But I know something that few of any of you know. 2 weeks ago, we held a communion service in this very room. And as is our custom when we receive communion, we take a piece of red paper like this one, imprinted with the words, "My sins paid in full." We sign our name to it. And then we take that piece of paper up the steps here and we place it at the foot of that big old rugged cross that is over there. And with that, I pointed to the dozens of pieces of paper stuck in the rocks that make up the base of that life-size cross. That night, Sharon came forward to receive communion. She wrote her name down on one of those slips of paper, and she asked me to walk her up to the cross of Jesus. I personally walked up to that cross with Sharon. And I was there when Sharon placed that piece of paper, her sins, at the foot of the cross and asked God to come into her life. You see, there is a God who accepts us right where we are. He embraces us regardless of how dirty we are or how badly our sins have hurt others. He accepts us before we can ever change or get cleaned up. And the really good news is, He loves us far too much to leave us where He found us. There was room at the cross for Sharon. And if there is room at the cross for Sharon, then there is room for anyone, regardless of where you are or what you have done. I wish Sharon's earthly journey of life had ended differently, but few get to choose that ending. Sharon's earthly journey ended in a dimly lit, damp basement with her blood and brain matter spattered on a cold stone wall. But I'm confident that because of a decision Sharon made, she's living forever in a far better place. The decision to place her sins and her shortcomings at the foot of a rugged cross, The decision to ask God to come into her life. So how is your journey of life going? Really well? That's great. Not so well? It's okay. Let's talk about your journey. I'm Steve Campbell. If you'll send me an email at the address on your screen, let's begin a conversation about the journey of life. Let's talk soon.